Hi guys, Harbs Narbs here. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Candlekeep, whether we can expect to go there in Baldur's Gate 3, what will we find there if we do get to go, and how will it be relevant to the story. As always, I've left the links to my Twitter, Discord and Patreon down below. This video will not contain datamined spoilers, but will obviously contain spoilers related to the early access game. Okay, let's go. Candlekeep is an important location in the Baldur's Gate franchise. After all, it was the home of Carname, the protagonist of the original series, that was adopted by his foster father, Gorion, a harper who took Carname in after rescuing him as a baby from a sect of Baal worshippers. It was where the franchise started, and it was just outside Candlekeep where Gorion was killed by the mysterious armoured figure, who turned out to be our half-brother and fellow Ballspawn, Seravok.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
Of course, the Baldur's Gate franchise did not create Candlekeep. It's been a part of the Forgotten Realms for a long while. However, one could argue that the city was made famous by the franchise, particularly for those that didn't have much interest in Ed Greenwood's world outside those original two games. The city has gone through a number of changes, as TSR and now Wizards have added things over the years. The second edition Candlekeep we saw in the first game was rather bare compared to modern interpretations of it.
Canon is prohibited.
And it's the modern interpretation of it that I'll be using for this video, specifically the 5th edition book Candlekeep Mysteries, which provides a very detailed description of it at the start of the book. And although Wizards of the Coast's policy on canon is a little odd, I'm going to assume that this fleshed out description found in what is at least an official book is what Larian would use for their potential version of Candlekeep. So what's so important about it? Well, it has the largest repository of written lore in Faerun, and is the home of the collected prophecies of Alondo the Seer. Those that played the original games will know that Alondo was the one who predicted the Ballspawn crisis. Candlekeep is a walled library housing both trivial and highly guarded knowledge, making it difficult to enter, but I have some theories that it will be somewhere we could end up. First off, the mysterious artifact. We can't open it and everyone wants it. It's been theorized that it could contain the soul of Gith and have some hellish origins, which could put it in the realm of being an infernal puzzle box. I mean, it does look like it could be one. Anyway, in Infernal Tides issue 2, which is the canon version of what happened in Descent into Avernus, Minsc and his gang go to Candlekeep to seek out Silvera Savikas. Bringing an infernal puzzle box with them, Savikas is a tiefling sage and great reader at Candlekeep, and an expert in infernal puzzle boxes. Baldur's Gate 3 has already introduced us to Silvera in this letter here, which has been written by the tiefling herself. It's a continuation of a debate with someone whose name has been obscured, and Silvera is arguing that the Hells are far more complex than the recipient is making out. She mentions Avernus and Zariel specifically. With Larian's own press release stating the fate of the Forgotten Realms is on your party's shoulders, will you carry it to salvation or descend with it to hell? It could be that an expert in hell is exactly what the party needs, especially if we're in possession of this mysterious artifact. We have seen in the Mindbreaker comics, which are a prequel to Baldur's Gate 3, that the Cult of the Absolute are trying to steal knowledge and open a portal to somewhere else. They use human sacrifice to achieve this, and in Mindbreaker issue 2, the cult has infiltrated the Knowledge Hold within Baldur's Gate, which seems to be a new addition to the city, and a heavily protected library similar to Candlekeep. We can also see 2 Eldritch tablets on the Nautiloid, which perhaps indicates that the Mind Flayers are trying to harness as much knowledge as possible. In the most recent issue of Mindbreaker, we can see that the Illithids, specifically one who calls itself Udron Blas, is trying to summon a weapon called the Mindbreaker. When Delina, a wild mage, points out that there are warring factions in the Illithid community, elder brains that go up against each other, Udron responds that the Absolute is above such petty rivalries, which implies some kind of unity between lots of Mind Flayer conclaves. Now, given that the Mindbreaker comics will conclude soon and they are set before Baldur's Gate 3, it might be that Minsc and his gang foil the Mindbreaker plot, which could bring it into the limelight in Baldur's Gate 3. If the cult have already failed within the knowledge hold in Baldur's Gate, then perhaps Candlekeep will turn out to be the next promising target. So how could we enter Candlekeep? Well, there are wards that protect the city and prevent anyone from entering it by any other means other than the front gates. This also protects the walled library from people attempting to fly in, who will end up stopping short and floating down 50 feet outside the gates. To actually enter, one must offer a work of writing that is not already in the library's collection. An example of a book that Candlekeep likely doesn't have is The Necromancy of Thay. But if we don't have this, then I could foresee some kind of fetch quest being used for our entry. Or if the Absolute is already there, then perhaps our true soul status or loyalty to the cult will already be enough. 5 avowed priests of Denir are the ones who assess which books are suitable for entrance, and once you are admitted, you become known as a Seeker, with which comes strict rules as well as restrictions on what you can actually access within Candlekeep. A Seeker must abide by the Orders of Accordance, which are no fighting, no stealing, no copying, and no damaging, marking, or otherwise modifying the work there. The Avowed are the people that work at Candlekeep, and there are roughly 300 of them, with a range of ranks and the majority being lowly scribes. The First Reader is responsible for expanding Candlekeep's literary resources and base of knowledge, and in 1492 DR it is a dragonborn called Skoda Balanasta. There are then 8 Great Readers, who are each regarded as experts in a particular field of knowledge. The current council is made up of 4 humans, 1 tiefling, a halfling, a dragonborn, and a Githzerai. The tiefling is of course Silvira Savikas, who is an expert on the Great Wheel of the Plains, and I've already explained her relevance regarding the mysterious artifact, but we could also see the Great Wheel of the Plains in Larian's A Most Noble Sacrifice, which potentially links up nicely to the Absolute's possible ambitions beyond the material plane. Other Great Readers that could be relevant are the Githzerai Vizier Ag, who is an expert on all things unnatural, including aberrations, undead, and the Far Realm, and then Alei Avonmore, a human worshipper of Ogma, who is an expert on divinity and the nature of the divine. So I mentioned before that when you enter Candlekeep as a Seeker that there are restrictions. Well, these depend on the Seeker, but by and large the majority of Seekers won't have access to the library itself. Instead, their guide will fetch the required books, which the Seekers can then use for study within the pillars of pedagogy. Of course, permission can be sought for Seekers that wish to enter the library, but they would have to receive a letter of permission from a high-ranking Avowed in order to pass through the Emerald's Door, which leads to the inner wards and the Great Library itself, where the rarest and most dangerous of tomes can be found. Of course, the Great Library isn't the only place of interest. Beneath Candlekeep lies many strange catacombs and dusty vaults. 2 places that could end up relevant to Baldur's Gate 3 are the Echoes of Alondo and the Chambers of Lost Lore. Within the Echoes of Alondo are the prophecies of Alondo himself, now held in prismatic gemstones stored in a vault. Only the First Reader and the Keeper of Tomes have the ability to coax out the prophecies, which are spoken in an old version of Common and are susceptible to misinterpretation. Given how relevant Alondo was to the original saga, it could be an interesting place to visit.
So saith the wise Alondo.
The second place, the Chamber of Lost Lore, might offer us a chance to gain secret knowledge and offer up the chance of conversation with deceased characters from the first Baldur's Gate game. It is here where you can access the spirits of long dead sages, and one that springs to mind is of course Gorion. In D&D, if one has an intelligence of more than 8 and meditates for an hour in the chamber, then they'll be able to cast a Contact Other Plane spell, allowing them to speak with the dead spirit. This is obviously more powerful than the Speak with Dead spell that requires an intact body in front of you. Anyway, there is a lot more to Candlekeep that hasn't been spoken about in this video, so I'd welcome you to do your own reading on it, but there is also a chance that we might not even end up going there. With Larian's Act system and the fact that on this map here we can't even see Candlekeep, it could be that we miss it out entirely. But then again, this map is likely not complete, and there are visible roads away from Worm's Crossing going south in the direction of the walled library. So with any luck, we'll get to return to Carname's home and visit the sages of Candlekeep. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then do please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!